To solve an absolute value equation, the first thing we're going to do is isolate the absolute value. And in this first problem, it's already isolated. Then I'm going to set up a compound inequality. X plus 3 is greater than or equal to 5 is greater than or equal to the opposite of that number. So then we're going to solve. Set up our first inequality, -5 greater than or equal to x plus 3. X plus 3 greater than or equal to 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides. So I have 0 greater than or equal to x plus 8. I'm going to move the x over there by subtracting. -x greater than or equal to 8. Last step here. Divide by -1. X is less than or equal to -8. Next problem. I am going to subtract 3 to both sides, and x is greater than or equal to 2. So now to get my final answer, I'm going to graph it. 2, close circle, x is greater than 2. -8, close circle, x is less than -8. So to write my final answer, I'm going to write two inequalities. From -infinity to -8. Oops, I need a bracket there. So let's erase that and put a bracket. Union from 2 to positive infinity. So there's my final answer. This next problem on the screen, again, I already have it isolated, so I'm good. Can an absolute value ever be greater than a negative number? So if I take the absolute value of 5, is that greater than -4? No. Or excuse me, yes. 5 is greater than -4. Well, if I have the absolute value of -5, when is that greater than -4? Well, 5 is greater than -4. So in this case, my answer would be -infinity to positive infinity. No matter what number I put in for x, if it's always going to be a greater. Now, on the contrary, if I was to take this and change it to less than, when is an absolute value going to be less than -4? So is a positive number ever going to be less than a negative number? If that was the case and we have a less than, then I would have no solution. Let's try one last problem. First thing I have to do is isolate my absolute value. So I'm going to add 3 to both sides. The absolute value of 4x plus 1 greater than 5. So let's set up our inequality. 4x plus 1 greater than 5. Symbol goes the same way and the opposite number. So now we have two equations. -5 greater than 4x plus 1 and 4x plus 1 greater than 5. I'm going to move the 4 to this side, so I'm going to subtract it. And then my next step will be to add 5 to both sides. So I have -4x greater than 6. Divide both sides by -4. And x is greater than or equal to, excuse me, not equal to, so let me get an eraser. To -3/2. So I'm going to reduce my fraction. All right, second equation, subtract 1. So I have 4x is greater than 4. And I don't know if you caught this, but I made a mistake over here. I forgot to flip my inequality. And I just noticed that, so I have it there. Going back to the other problem, divide both sides by 4. X is greater than 1. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this out. Here's 0, here's 1. At 1 I have an open circle, and if x is greater than 1. Negative 3 halves, I have an open circle, and x is less than that. So to write my final answer, I go from negative infinity to negative 3 halves, parentheses, union, I go from 1 to positive infinity.